Hello friends, it's Vervain, and I thought that today I could show you a fun technique that I've been doing with my jelly plate recently. This is my 5x7 jelly plate, and this is how you can do a painting on a jelly plate in one pull. And I'm using here a picture from, it's called Women, a pictorial archive from 19th century sources. It's a Dover book, and I've just pulled an image from that, so all the images in that are royalty free, and they're all really gorgeous. And I've just placed that under my 5x7 jelly plate. And when we're painting on the jelly plate, to pull it in one pull, you want to work from the top layer down. I really like the look of bold outlines, so that works well for this. And I'm starting with the outline. So this is all with paint brushes on the gel plate, and you want to work in pretty thin layers. And right now I am just tracing, not religiously, but I'm tracing with in a little bit of a stylized way the image from this source book. And then once I've got this, the black lines here, I will start working my way down. So I'm now doing the white highlights. I did some white highlights in the eyes, and then I decided that on this one I was going to do some white polka dots on her little headband. I've done a couple of this. This is the third one that I've done of this particular lady. And I'm kind of working in the same colorway for all of them, but just switching things up a little bit, both as I kind of like learn what I'm doing and what I like and what I don't like, but also just it's fun for them all to be a little bit different. I think that's part of the cool thing about monoprints, and gel printing is a monoprinting method, right? Which means that it's a print technically, but usually when you think of a print, you think of something that's replicated, and that there's like a whole bunch of them in series, or it's like a print of an original, but monoprints are originals, and I think that's a really cool thing. So here for the shading, I'm using, these are all Liquitex acrylics, Liquitex Basics acrylics, by the way. And for shading, I'm using my quinacridone magenta, partially, well, it's just a color that I really like, but I'm using it for shading because it is a transparent acrylic. So some of the colors that I'm working with, like the quinacridone magenta and the phthalocyanine green, are transparent. And then some of the colors that I'm working with, like I think it's called light portrait pink, or they might have changed what it's called now, and the parchment, which is what I use for white, and what's the light blue called? Light blue permanent, and the Naples yellow, which I use at the end, those are all opaque. So the transparent ones, whatever I put on top of those will show through. So I can use the transparent ones and kind of blend those out on the surface of the gel plate to create that kind of shaded effect. You're still totally going to see brush strokes, which I think is kind of cool. But you get effects that you really couldn't get, I feel like, if you were doing this like as a regular painting, working from the bottom up instead of from the top down. And you'll see what I mean at the end about the texture. Also, like if you're shading in acrylic, layering, like this sort of thing, if you were doing it, it would be the last step. And the cool thing here is that the last steps are the big solid fields. And so your first steps are all the details, which means that while you're doing the details, you're working on pretty much directly on the surface of the gel plate. So if you need to pull something off to get rid of it, that's pretty easy to do. So it's actually, I think I might have already done it, but there's a point at which I use my finger to pull up some of her like blush that I've put down, because I felt like I put too much of it down. And I'm looking at the finished piece now, and I don't know, maybe it's still too much, maybe it's just right. I think it's cool. It has a very kind of like pop arty feel to it. I think this one that I was filming, because I was trying not to put my head directly over the gel plate, this is my least good tracing job of the ones that I've done. And you'll see at the end, I'll show you all three together. So the other two, I feel like I did a little more faithful of a tracing job, but I like all three of these women. They end up looking like sisters, not twins. And I think that's pretty cool. So here we are. I've done all the details, and I want to make sure that the, well, one, so because the hair is filled in with the quinacridone and magenta and a little bit of the phenolcyanine green, I want to back that up with an opaque color so that the Naples yellow doesn't show through, because I'm going to use Naples yellow for my background. So I'm just using the light portrait pink here to do the skin tone. In the other prints that I pulled, I mixed the light portrait pink with parchment to get a lighter skin tone. In this one, I decided I was okay with even more of a pop arty feel, and that I could just use it straight out of the bottle, so that's what I did. I did also use a heat gun to dry some of these thicker layers a little faster because I was impatient. I have heard that that can damage your gel plate. I don't know if they're just talking about homemade gel plates or if that applies to the commercial ones too. I've always just used it on my gel plate just a little tiny bit, only when I have thick paint and I'm super impatient. So I did use the brayer. Everything I did was with the paintbrush until that final layer. When I did the final layer, I did use the brayer to get that background on there. And I've cut out a bunch of the waiting time also. But this is the final pull, so you can see what it looks like. And I am really quite happy with it. So yeah, you can see the faces are quite different because the tracing jobs were a little different. And I think it's kind of cool. Like they all look like I said, like sisters, but not twins. And here you can see all three of them together. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this is coming out. I'm having a lot of fun with this technique. I've done a lot of other stuff with my gel plate over the last year or so that I've owned it. I have not done this painting technique until literally today, and I've been knocking these out and trying a couple other things. So I've been having a ton of fun. I'm really excited about this process and the results that come from it. If you have a gel plate, I hope that you try this too. Or if you're thinking about getting a gel plate, get one. Oh my God, it's so fun. And you don't have to be able to paint. There's so many other fun ways to use it. So anyhow, I hope that you found this video fun and informative. And I hope that you enjoyed spending a little time making art with me today. And I will hope to see you in my next video. So have a wonderful, magical day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.